Okay, so for a long time I've been wanting to talk about this character, Mint Byrne, who was the ultimate herbalist. And for those who don't know, this guy is from this fan game of Danganronpa that was called Danganronpa Antebellum Lockdown, which is the premise of the game is that like the typical Danganronpa, which is a place where everyone there's a certain amount of students that have to kill each other in order to escape the situation. And usually this is just from classmates, students or so. But the plot twist of Danganronpa Antebellum is the point is that everyone else here is deserve to be here since they are criminals. They have killed people, hurt masses or whatever. So yeah, I wanted to talk about this guy because the situation of everyone here is very interesting and there's that. Of course, a lot of things that is very wrong to say at least. Like the the game is trying to say they're super bad, they are awful people, but not that bad because they have trauma and they are small and cute and weak. Yeah, so let's ignore that. So what will happen with mine? I'm gonna talk about his story at least because he do not go through the whole game. He was the first victim of the game. Of course, there's gonna be spoilers of it if you didn't read the thing at the start, but yeah, whatever. So Mind was present as that little shy guy who is always quiet and like to stay in the background, but when the time comes, he would like to stand by himself in his own way. He's not like gonna screaming, "Hey, shut up, bro! Get out of my fucking way!" He's just like, "Hey, stop, please. I just don't wanna fight with you." But yeah, he's more like that. We see that he's a very empathic person. He's really tries likable and cooperative. I apologize, my English is not my first language. I'm sorry. But yeah, going on, we see that the first crimes that are revealed for all the characters are his and other two people, which Mind's Byrne crime is that he has poisoned his father for so many years and so on, which everyone is like, the fuck was this guy? It's like, how will you do this to your own family? Yeah, I kill a lot of people, but how will you that? And so on. When the game is going, is a point where the people seeing this game is like can vote if they are redeemable or they are corrupt people that can be helped. So in the middle of this transition, there's a comment of mine that I really like. It's okay if you want me, corrupt. I'll forgive you. I know what I am. I feel awful if I deceive into thinking I was anything else. Which made me think that he's very conscious of what he have done and how he knows he's pretty bad at what he did. Even so, he take the consequences of it and I'm gonna die with it. He's not going to ask for pity or anything else. He just wants to be treated like what he is. Which made me think of how mature this guy is, even for what he have to go through. But yeah, after the days go down, the votation games to up, and he has worthy of redemption with 77.5%. I believe that's how it's pronounced in English. Because of course, come on, I am a super American person. Yeah, I still hard at English. But yeah, for what we can see when the days goes through, he gets very friendly with everyone, and especially with this guy that I hate his task so much, Ezekiel. I really hate him. I hope he died soon. But yeah, they get very friendly, and I believe. And at some point, the mind talk with the protagonist and explains to us a little how the things go. Is that he's have a very strong fear against alcoholic people because her own dad was an alcoholic person, and because of this, he was always getting problems with his father and so his mother. And so at some point, it didn't explain exactly how, but I believe it's like someday his father falls sick in bed, and men start treating him to make me feel better. But when the days passed out and the things were getting better and no one was fighting or screaming or hitting each other, Min just his own teenager decides to keep it like him. to keep everyone at peace. And even if that was bad, we can see that maybe he wasn't that poisoning, like he was suffering and he was in a constant pain. Besides, if his dad was willing to take medicine, it means that he was actually feeling better when Mint gave him this poison or whatever he was giving him. Well, so mind you, what just was keeping him on the bed, nothing else. Which made me believe that, even if Mind have something against his father because of him being alcoholic and an aggressive person, he still loved him because his dad is his dad, and so on. After the days goes down, so Mind, I don't know whose name is pronounced, I forget about it. Yeah, but he's very conscious of what he has done. He knows that he's not his fault, but he will take the responsibility for it. He will take the charge of it, even if that brings him to hell. Because it's very sad that actually means Mind believe on the heaven and all of that. He have never fall. He have never have stepped out from the church in any Sunday. He's always go to it. He's really believe on it and thinks it's something good. Yeah, he's even to throw his whole life to heaven, even if that means helping his mother and falling into hell. If that implies helping his mom from the pain of having an alcoholic husband. But yeah, when the days go on, nobody has killed each other. The kidnapper, in this case Moroneko, decides to give us a motive, which is our hostage motive, where your most loved one is going to be hurt if anyone have been killed in the next days. So every day they have to vote for one of the hostage, and that person will get punished. For example, the first hostage that is voted is Takasakahiro. His hostage was his fish. Okay. The judge came. He's a very nice person, but yeah. So in the punishment, they literally killed a fish, and so everyone is like super scared. Everyone is super panicked about their loved ones, especially some like their families or their best friends or their boyfriends or so are about to get hurt because of them. And Mind's hostage is her own mother, the person he have done all for, the person he commit his crime for, and he's like very apathic to say the least. He's like very have some resentment against her. After the first day, he started to think about it, and really, I believe something happened in his mind. Like, it's not his fault. It was never her responsibility. He did it for nothing. If he know his mother all alone and his father is going to get back, being an alcoholic and hurting more against us, I am not keeping him down. But it was really change anything if I did anything in the first place. I believe something like that happened in Mind's mind for what it gone. So he decided that it was never his responsibility as a son, but his mother for married a bad person, and he should have never done what he did for his mother. Of course, it was good at some point, but it was too extreme at least. But I don't know. He's Irish. I don't know how Irish people take the divorce that fine or so, but I believe it wasn't the best to stay like this. So Mind decided that he's done. That people actually think that he can redeem himself, so he's going to try that and live his life. So in the next days, he's take the step out and ask for everyone to vote for his mother, so anybody else hostage has to do this. And it's pretty sad to see Mind angry, because when people say, "But it's your mother, how could you do this?" and when they could say, "Well, he's your mother, how could you hurt her like that? How you can throw you under the bus?" Mind is like, if she really loved my mother and loved me that much, why will he put me in that situation? Why he will have never helped me out like I did for her? Which is very sad to think how teenager has to take the responsibility of her own parents and basically try to raise them into be a good couple, which is pretty sad. And how this abusive system make him to be as bad as his parent has basically torment his whole life for years until he disappears. And someone, but sadly, it will get to a final part where mine, when after some party or something like that, and the next day, mine collapses in front of everyone, dying, being the first victim of the killing game, and were killed by this guy, Dracula, which was very sad in retrospective size. When you're finally willing to change, when you're finally willing to live your life without for and not for anyone else, and trying your best to change and live happily, that's the thing. That's what the decision that take you to that. That was very sad in retrospective, because he always did his best for his family, for his friends, and his new companions at expression, but no, everything's sad. But yeah, I believe it was pretty sad for him to die after he decided to take a step up. And at least we don't. I believe he wasn't that bad that he died at this point, because we can see that he goes through his character arc that wasn't designed to go through the whole game, but only this chapter. So as the first time we meet man, we can see that he's a very mature person, and he already has solved all of his issues with his crime or so. But at least I think it was more heartbroken when, for example, with Ezekiel's, and we see through the whole game how they start having not anything at all, but when the time passes, they get together and they start hanging out. And Ezekiel admires him so much. We don't know exactly why, but we can interpret that minds tell him what happened with his crime and all of that. And by some reason, Ezekiel admired that of him and ended up liking him so much. Because for what we know, Mind and Shinku are not that different, but even so, Ezekiel is very hateful towards Shinku, but he really likes Mint. I don't know. And it's sad too that Shinku is also very sad about it, and more sad about science. He was very friend with Mind, and his own killer Dracul. It was very hard for him to lose all of his friends in the same day. But yeah. Also, I believe this will be pretty sad if in the future this get leaked out or something, or get for the whole public, and moms and Main's moms can see what happened with his son and what he have done just for her. It will be more heartbreaking that way, I believe. But yeah, I believe that's everything I wanted to talk about this character. I want to talk about Alora too, because she had so much inside of her character that was very sad too. Because I really like Alora, I really like Mint. Those and Takiko. Those three are my favorites from the Garbolog. I'll be talking about them later. But yeah, whatever. Thank you very much for seeing this video. I'm really trying to do more stuff because I am about to die. So I wanted to do something that I really enjoy and like to talk about with any sequence of.